expression. Okay. Or throw a new argument exception. Couldn't get type. Okay. Now, yeah, that's a different way of doing some type safety. Hey, Zooty. All right, so we've got yeah, this is better, I think, than the nested type things there. This way, at least we know we've got the value, and if we don't, we're going to throw. So the goal here in all of these is to make sure that at any point, if we don't get the thing we're looking for, we freak out. All right, next question here is going to be, we need method info. Method info method is, so we're going to now ask that type for the method instantiate. Method info couldn't be found. We want system reflection, method info. You don't need system reflection over here. All right, we are doing wild deep type system stuff in C# now here. Okay, so we get the type we're given. If we can't get the type, we go, wait a minute, that string you gave me isn't a type. Cool. Once we've got the type, we need to go find an instantiate method on it. If we can't find the instantiate method, again, throw a new argument exception. Instantiate method not present. Okay. Now we need to ask some questions about our method. Method dot, we have gets a value indicating the calling conventions for this thing. Standard, yeah, calling conventions. Standard, yep. Var args, no. Standard or var args has this, yep. Explicit this, yep, okay. No, that. So what we've got here is, what I want to confirm, actually here, let's add a comment here. So there's three things we need to confirm. The method needs to be static, it needs to take no arguments, it needs to return a game screen. We need to find that out by looking at the method info object. So let's go back to our docs. We have our method info class. All right. So first thing we want here is private, is public, is static. Yes. Oh, Advent of Code was good today. It was very short. I, in fact, was halfway to solving a harder problem when I tested the answer to the easier problem, and it went through. I was like, oh, you only wanted me to do that in part 2? That's neat. That's easy. I think my new plan is basically to do, for December, I'll do Advent of Code before I start my code streams, and then once, however long it takes me to finish the problem, then I'll go in and have my work day working on my game. So, oh yeah, part 2 was super easy. Though I found both parts pretty easy. I liked my code that I wrote this time. Do I still have that repo around easily there? Yeah. Yeah, here we are. You can see everything I wrote is up at my repo if you want to take a peek at how I did it. But I was pretty happy with what I did. All right, so the first thing, we can confirm the method is static. If not, oh, you counted 4 directions and summed them up. Yeah, I counted 8 directions and summed them up, and I wrote a nice helper method for getting through the 8 directions. So if not method is static. Throw a new argument exception. Instantiate isn't static. Don't do that. Don't have a non-static instantiate. That's just. Okay. The method takes no arguments. So one of the things we want to find out is, oh, hey, there we are. Return type. Beautiful. So if method dot return type dot is, hang on, I want to, is equivalent, no, not is equivalent to, I want to know, is this thing, yeah, yep, is instance of type, and hang on, is instance of type, yes, is in the inheritance hierarchy, that's what we want, yes, is instance of type game screen. So we're being very fiddly here because we're doing reflection and reflection is scary. Throw a new argument exception, instantiate. Instantiate doesn't return a game screen. Okay. The method takes no argument. So we still need to figure out how we ask it how many arguments it takes. Or is it arguments or parameters? Nope, that's the return type. Yep, reflected type. Constructor custom contains generic parameters. No. Is family and assembly is final, is generic method, is hide by sig, is private, is public. Yes. I mean, okay, come on. Method module name. Methods. Create delegate, create base definition, get custom attributes, get generic arguments. Nope. Get generic method definition. Get parameters? Okay. If I've got a method info, so like C#, C# method info parameter count. What is the most efficient way to ask method info how many parameters it takes? Yeah. Get method info dot get parameters will give you the parameters. Okay. So cool. So we want to say here then is, yeah, if not, or if method dot get parameters dot count. Actually, hang on. It's dot length. But yeah, we have a length property. Cool. Dot length does not equal 0. Throw a new argument exception. Instantiate takes parameters. All of those are problems. But if none of those problems occur, then the method must be static. The method must take no arguments. The method must return a game screen. Okay. And with all of those things done, we can now come down here and we can ask ourselves the important question. Method dot, so hang on. Game screen equals method dot invoke null as game screen. Question. Throw a new argument exception. So if for whatever reason we didn't get it, instantiate's return value was bad. Okay. And now having done all of that, we have onChange scene 2. We have taken this target, we've taken a string that describes a class, and we have ourselves a game screen. We have now instantiated that scene. Great. All right, comment. At this point, screen is holding a properly instantiated Godot node. So, change scene to screen. Great. The other thing we want to do here is, as we are doing this, we want to say underscore current scene dot on, so hang on, current scene, game's current scene used to need to be a node. It now needs to be a game screen. And in fact, change scene to game screen, new scene. Change scene to file is in fact not useful anymore. All right. Change scene to game screen, new scene. And there we go. Current scene dot no, it's going to be current scene dot change screen minus equals on change scene 2. Then after we do that, current scene dot change screen plus equals on change scene 2. So the new scene will get set up with this new thing here. Okay, so now there's a couple other things we need to check. All right, we have the starting scene, packed scene. That's not actually right. Current scene is starting scene dot instantiate. What I think we want to do instead is, instead of saying that starting scene is a packed scene, I need maybe it is. I mean, okay, yeah, packed scene, starting scene. I mean, I don't know. What am I doing here with this thing? So, okay, starting scene dot instantiate here is gonna be, we load the puzzles, we load the puzzles, we load the categories, we call provide, and then we say the current scene is whatever the starting scene is. We've got that stuff, but the starting scene now we know must actually be, oh, wait, hang on, when we ready it, we say starting scene dot instantiate, and we just set current scene to that. I don't love that. Not least because we've got the instantiator from, yeah, game screen. So instead, let's just say, instead of that, let's say public game screen starting scene. Let's F2 to starting screen. And we're going to say I mean, yeah, game screen starting scene is just going to be, I mean, I just want it to be a type, don't I? Public type starting scene is going to be type of, what is it called? It's the menu. Puzzle select menu. Okay. And then when we start up, instead of doing all of that, we're going to say, right, remove child current scene. Hang on. Yeah, on change scene to yeah, then we just want to say, yeah, if underscore current scene is not null, we do that. To reference of a possibly null reference, right. Then again, if current scene is not null, we wire it up. Then the last thing we've got here is if current scene is not null, we will remove it. We're not going to worry about if it isn't there. We're fine. So now we just need to say, as we get startup, right, so this is game screen, question mark current scene, starts out with null. All right, I guess, yeah, that's the default value, so fine. And then what we just want to say here is, before we do anything, instead of all that add child, we're just going to say on change scene to and that's going to be starting scene dot assembly qualified name. Okay, so that's going to try changing the starting scene to whatever we did there. So that's the puzzle select menu. Now we just need to make sure that both of our game screens, yeah, iGame screen turns out to be not needed, so let's get rid of it. Somewhere here there's delete, there it is. Okay, so puzzle canvas must be a game screen, and it must provide instantiate. It's not an override method. Public static puzzle canvas instantiate. There we are. And then it also, I don't know why that's yelling there. Oh, game screen, there it does need to be a comma there, I see, yep. Okay, and then puzzle select menu also needs to be a game screen. And it must implement instantiate, and it must know its file name as well. Okay, so when the puzzle select menu instantiates, one of the things puzzle select menu must know is its own file name. So here we go. And your file name is puzzle select menu.scene, copy resource path, back to here. There you are. Okay, so now instead of instantiating a puzzle canvas, you instantiate a puzzle select menu. Great. Okay, then you will instantiate your own file name as a puzzle select menu. Puzzle canvas has the same thing going on there. Yep. Okay, so now the one thing is, right now we actually resource load this thing and we actually do this thing itself and do all that setting up there. So what we want to do instead is we want to say, yeah, on change scene to target. Have I heard the new Nanowar song? No. Are you Nanowar? Just is that a typo or is that actually the name of the band? Because I know Manowar. I don't know Nanowar. I'm also not listening to music at the moment, which I only just noticed because I got so deep into the code. Okay, not a typo. Huh. What do they play? No idea if I will like them. But I have fairly ranging tastes in music. Oh, it's a meme band? Probably not my thing then. I have a tendency to prefer music that takes itself very seriously. It's a weird way of putting it, but it's just like, I don't know. I like my music. So one weird fact about me is that my mother is a comedy musician, which means I got so much comedy music in my life that I am just a little overloaded. I grew up in that whole space. So, yeah, thinking about Java Hello World, yeah, that makes sense. And yeah, it is that is I bet they are good. I bet they do good work. I It is not the kind of thing I listen to because I overloaded on that deeply in my youth. All right. So here we go. The thing here is we need to, once Puzzle Canvas is ready, it might need to do some other things, which means, okay, we actually need to be a little bit smarter with change scene 2. We might need to not only change the scene, so yeah, here we have, right, here we call change scene 2, no, change scene 2, that's in game, which I think, that still does exist, actually, but it should now be private. You guys can't call that. Similarly, private void on change scene 2. Only I can wire to that. Okay, so now what we need to do, let's go back to Puzzle Canvas here. This one's the easy one, because when it converts us back to the menu, we go all the way down to the bottom, it just has to fire off, right, change scene 2, it fires off its own change scene 2 to say type of puzzle select menu. Oh, actually, wait, no. Yeah, change scene 2, type of puzzle select menu, and then, right, it does a queue free. Don't do that queue free. Yeah. Yeah, your change scene 2 is enough. But that queue free does need to happen. Somebody does need to queue to free that object. So that's, again, something what game should do is, right, it's going to remove child, current scene, and then it's going to underscore current scene dot queue free. And then it's going to kick the new frame. So yeah, at the end of that frame, that object will get freed. There we go. And this is totally fine and safe. Because return to main menu here, this doesn't need to do anything special to that scene before it's set up. But we might need to do something to that scene before it's set up, which means back here in change scene 2, we need to take a target type. We also need an action. Which is a method that we can pass around because we're functional programmers. All right. It has no parameters and does not return a value. That's not quite what we want here. What we actually need here is, yeah, action on, okay, single parameter and does not return a value. That's going to be correct. So this is going to be an action on game screen. Setup. And by default, it equals right, must be a compile time constant. All right, so let me see C# optional action parameter. There we go. I take an optional action. Oh no, an optional parameter for an action. No. Actually, what we can just do here, I'm just going to see action game screen question mark setup equals null. All right. So now what's going to happen when we emit that signal, if this thing is provided, again, the signal now also needs to have two things. It needs a string target, and it needs, oh no, I can't put an action in a signal because I can't, because those things marshal as variable. Okay. All right. I got to think that one through. Because what I need to do is I want to be able to, after that signal has happened, I want to be able to come back and say, okay, you've done the thing. I need a chance to do setup. So I need the ability to say, in addition to emitting this signal of, yo, change screen has occurred, I need to be able to do setup. All right. So okay. I think we got to do here is how do you know? Like, let me see. Godot signal callback. Okay. Using signals. Uh-huh. Godot's version of the observer pattern. Right. Custom signals. Yep. Okay. Yep. Okay. Right. The signal bus architecture. Um. Okay. Blar. Oh, this is going to be fun and exciting because what we need to figure out now is I need to figure out how we're going to pass something here that is not that is going to allow this thing to do. I mean, okay. So, all right. Signals are event handlers that Godot also knows about, which is why they have to use types that can be marshaled through var. What if this isn't a signal? What if this is just an event? So let's take a quick look here at C# event handlers. Handling and raising events, because yeah, we can do event handler delegates. Okay. So public event handler threshold read. Yep. Okay. And a delegate is a type of, yep, a delegate holds a reference to a method. Delegates are multicast. Okay. So yep. And then we have some args, event data class. Yep, create class that derives from event args, then provide members needed. Okay, event handlers. You define an event handler method in the event receiver. So, okay, it must match the signature of the delegate for the event you're handling. Static and dynamic event handlers. Okay, raising multiple events. Uh-huh. Okay. How to raise and consume events. Sure. Okay. So here we go. What I want to do, we have this counter, public event handler threshold reached. Okay, there it is. So yeah, threshold reached dot invoke. And then, right, threshold reached. Okay. So let's see if I can make this happen without using the signal magic. We're going to restructure some windows a little here so I can more easily look at the docs while I work. Okay. So we have this class that's going to be doing this. All right. And instead of using the signal thing here, we're going to say, right, public delegate void, change screen event handler, rename so it doesn't end in event handler. It will event handler. So this is going to be public. Right. So do I still need that delegate there? Public event handler